telling each other that we don't care. But a lonely you needs a lonely me, one heart, one dream. Rays of hope are soaring through the sky. Jehovah, our life, particles or dense electrons, rays of hope are soaring through the sky. Light of day, bodies ignite, bodies ignite. No moment gone, there is no rest. A shift, a move, a surge, we feel and manifest. Slide from uncertainty and legend to intent. Interminable imaginaries guided by ancestor strength. Abide by no one's governance. We below into the left more. We see more. Whose life is this for? Global affinities we work within our trenches. We make love through local intentions. Slow, chaotic and slow, but that seed people got you sold is one day a tree guarding you from the cold and more. We see more from margin to the core. We'll slowly necesidades ajenas no sienten mi pena. Nadie nos dará gobierno, majestad. Las necesidades ajenas no sienten mi pena. Que allá donde no había, no solicito permiso para la vida. Soy rica en esperanzas y de reto no me niego. Le daré vista hasta el más ciego. Soy rica en esperanzas y de reto no me niego. Estoy aquí y de reto no me niego. Estoy aquí. Estoy aquí, yo veré, no me encierro. Estoy aquí. Conocí, siempre hay manera. No más necesito un terrenito, una parcela. Hay bastante, sobran ejidos robados y prestados. El vivo sigue de pie, no como el muerto acostado. Ay, esas cumbres, como brillan, llamando la atención. A través del mundo aumentan los hogares de la mina y carbón. Allá donde no había, no solicito permiso para la vida. Soy rica en esperanzas y de reto no me niego. Le daré vista hasta el más ciego. Soy rica en esperanzas y de reto no me niego. Estoy aquí y de reto no me niego. Estoy aquí. Yo veré, no me encierro. Estoy aquí. Ay, esta espantosa día. Estoy aquí. Que vano fuerte, la ansia. Estoy aquí. Clave que lleve la vida. Bajo un sudor mexicano.
Welcome to Trek Table, your Sunday weekly podcast holding Trek space for
Black, Indigenous, Brown,
women of color,
queer or otherwise.
and our allies.
Yes, I am your host, Dayla, and today I am holding Trek space for Michael Burnham as she continues to absorb a thing where both logic and emotion have failed her.
and I am your co-host Claudia, and today I am holding Trek space for realists looking for hope despite the evidence.
Hi, I'm your co-host Maya, and I'm holding Trek space for people, neighbors, offerings, and mutual aid, and how we can take care of each other.
Hi, I'm your co-host Maya Mama, and I'm holding Trek space for nerding out in any way we see fit. Own it.
Awesome. Yes. Welcome everybody to the Trek Table. We start not only with acknowledging what we're holding Trek space for, but we also want to ground ourselves and say that our teams here on the Trek Table are on the unceded land of the Tongva, the Chumash, the Quiche, the Ohlone, the Puyallup, the Pawtucket, and the Massachusetts people. We are grateful to the Indigenous stewards of these lands, their ancestors who have come before, those who are here now, and those who have yet to come. I invite you, our listeners and our viewers, to discover and acknowledge the lands and the lands of the peoples that you are on. Yeah. So let's all go ahead and take a breath in and acknowledge all this land and the way that resources have been allocated. Yeah. Go ahead, breathe in and exhale. Thank you.
Thank you for all of you joining us today as we hold Trek Space for Women of Color here in front of our live digital audience on Outside in Theater's YouTube channel, as well as those of you listening on the podcast archive.
Our opening track for this episode is called Chicana Skies by the Ben Quetzal off their album Quetzal. You'll be hearing several tracks by Quetzal throughout this episode of Trek Table. Follow them at Quetzal Music on Instagram and see our show notes or the links in the chats for their merchandise and more.
Yes, and we want to welcome everybody to episode 28 of the Trek Table. Thank you all for showing up for this conversation with women of color about Star Trek Discovery, Season 2, Episode 11, entitled Perpetual Infinity. We have a really great episode today. We are going to dive deep with this Trek Table assembled as we dive deep into these pivotal moments for Michael Burnham and Spock and the crew, because everybody has been waiting for the Red Angel, and she is here. And wait, what? It's Dr. Mama Gabrielle Burnham. All the questions we have, and we are definitely going to talk about control. So lots of things on today's show.
We're so glad you're joining this Black, Indigenous, Women of Color, BIWOC Trek conversation. Hello and welcome so that we can build with each other. How do you enter this conversation as a Star Trek fan? Are you Star Trek curious, a newbie, an OG Trekkie, Star Trekking family, Star Trek femme, Star Trek zaddy, Trek baby? Let us know in the chat.
Awesome. We want to say welcome to all of our friends in the chat. See you, Satterfield. See a bunch of folks. So happy to see you. Today, episode 28 of the Trek Table. Like we said, we're going to unpack the Star Trek Discovery Season 2, Episode 11. We're going to dive deep a couple of different ways today. We're going to dig into some Trek Table questions. Claudia is here with these questions. We're going to play popcorn recap and see if this team can replicate last week's win. We're going to try again. We're also going to dig into all the design that brings a little bit of the drama and lots of the questions. Maya's here with Space Runway looks. We'll braid it all together in thematics. And of course, the spoiler zone in full effect as we count down to the end of this season. Signal boost, some fun things today, final thoughts, and we always close with gratitude. So excited that you all have chosen to join us in this practice of exploring Star Trek Discovery every week in this deep dive. So the last set of business is just to check in. Two more things. Let's check in and see who's at this table. Can I ask you to go around, share your name, your pronouns, your visual description, any access check-in, and finally that piece that Maya asked us before that music. How do you enter as a Star Trek fan? Maya, since you asked that question, can I ask you to go first? Hello.
Yes, hi. This is Maya, and my last name is Chinchilla, like tortilla. And I go by she, her, hers pronouns. I am a Guatemalan mestiza. Today I'm wearing purple lipstick, glasses, and magenta purplish hair. My access needs are mostly met. And I have been identifying as a Star Trek femme these days. I'm sci-fi curious. I've been, really into this show and been converting other people as well to the Star Trek fandom. So I feel like I get a toaster at some point.
Yes. I love it. Thank you so much, Maya. I'm thinking about that toaster. All right, Claudia, welcome to the show today. Can I ask you to go ahead and introduce yourself and check in?
Hello, everyone. I'm Claudia. My gender pronouns are they, their, she, hers. A visual description: African American woman, big old brown afro, wearing my disco t shirt, and I am sitting on what looks like the original set of the original Enterprise. And my access check in is that I have a muscle disorder, so I'm sometimes going to pull a face. I'm very rarely pulling a face at somebody's Star Trek opinion, and I'm mostly pulling a face because one of my muscles is pulling me. And frankly, they've been pulling me a lot. So you might even see me go, "Ah!" And it's not me being surprised by a Star Trek opinion. It's me being surprised by one of my muscles. Also, that smoke thing is still in the air. So if you see me grab a tissue and dab my eye, again, I am not getting verklempt because of a Star Trek opinion. It's the smoke in the air, I swear. And I identify as a generational Star Trek lover. I got it from my mama, and I'm spreading it to all of the children, the nieces and the nephews, and I'm a polyamorous sci-fi lover. Show me some sci-fi. I will love it.
I love that promise. All right, poly sci-fi, see you. Welcome. Maya Mama, welcome to the show. Can I ask you to introduce yourself?
Yeah, I'm Maya Mama. I use she, her pronouns. I'm a young looking middle aged black woman. I'm wearing my blue disco shirt and a smoky eye, I think. I'm playing with makeup, and a red lip. I'm from a generational Star Trek family, and I also identify as poly sci fi. But I think I might be. I think I might just be like poly single, and I just like playing the field.
Okay, I feel you there, poly single. Get it on the sci-fi tip. All right. Welcome, Maya Mama. Hi, everybody. I'm Dayla. My pronouns are she, he, they, and Dayla. Just a visual check-in. I'm a mixed queer Filipinx person. My blue is growing out on the tips of my hair, so you get a little bit more of my black hair. I'm in a white and blue checkered scarf today with my disco shirt and a bone carving of a whale on my chest, just to give nods to Star Trek IV: The Voyage Home, which is a fun thing to share. I am a Star Trek fan from the reruns on KCOP Channel 13 here in Los Angeles, on Tongvaland. And I will say that really Star Trek Next Generation is where I found community in Star Trek nerdiness. And I am sci-fi poly, but I am definitely in the primary zone with disco. So I'm super happy to be here. And my access check-in is that it's a nice day for a cup of water. So I'm holding my Star Trek Discovery mug today, and on the back is the season 3 spoiler. It's a little bit of book and a grudge. So super excited about that. All right, so thank you for letting us all check in. A final bit of business in this arrival period of the Trek table. Today, we're just gonna check in on our room agreements, our Trek table agreements, and then we're gonna jump into this conversation because there is much to say. So we wanna say welcome to all who enter, whether you're a newbie or you were raised in a generational Trek family, welcome. Let's build this space together.
Whether you use Trek Table as your nerdy exploration or as part of your self-care ritual, Trek Table is a weekly space to put down the world for a second and come into Trek space.
This is a space for Black, Brown, Indigenous, women of color to be a fan, a geek, a nerd, and explore the vastness of the Star Trek multiverse.
Trek Table is also a place for allies to come, engage, and explore as well. This is an opportunity for allies to hold space and focus on insights, perspectives, and experiences that they may not be familiar with.
And now that we're all here, we remind you that we seek to build an environment of mutual respect and listening. We understand we'll disagree, and that is part of the fun, but there's enough hate going on out there in the world, and we don't need that here. So please keep your phasers on stun.
Yes, and you can hear Señorito Chorizo also agreeing with these Trek table agreements. Welcome to all the Trek babies in the chat. Let's go ahead and breathe in all these agreements together. Breathe in. And exhale. Thank you.
Ooh, lovely. And now here we go with our Trek Table questions posed to our Trek Table assembled here and to all y'all participating in Outside In's YouTube channel chat. Control. Control took over Captain Leland's body. So is Control like a separate life form now?
Mira que regresa el maldito. Viene con las manos llenitas de piedra que no quiere arrojar.
Welcome back for Trek Table question number 1. So here's the question. Control took over Captain Leland's body with first it had that sick shot in the eye and then the back of the head, and it seems like it's fully a computer inside of a human person's body. So we have had in previous iterations of Star Trek really deep explorations. In Voyager, they asked, hey, is the hologram a person? In Star Trek The Next Generation, they were like, Data, are you a real dude? We had our favorite bartender. She had big opinions on it. So my question for y'all is Captain Leland or Control Leland what Maya Mama, what should we call it?
Leela Troll.
Leela Troll. Thank you for that. Is that a portmanteau of Control?
That is a portmanteau.
A portmanteau. Leela Troll. Leela Troll. That sounds like a medicine you would take to take care of something, like Leela Troll. I wasn't able to do this, but now I have Leela Troll. Anyway, is
May
Leela
cause
Troll
death.
a life? May cause death. Is Leela Troll a life form? I'm going to start with Maya Chinchilla. What do you think?
I mean, I think it's something you take if you are tired of being awesome and you want to be basic. But I don't know all of the science. But I just sort of think maybe Leland, Leela Troll, it's like an evil quantum leap, you know? So his body's being inhabited until it, whatever needs to be resolved in this timeline from another timeline. And then, but I guess the body will, I don't know.
Wait a second. Do you think that like Leland is in there fighting for control inside Leela Troll? Oh, that's wild. Okay, Dayla, what do you think? Is Leela Troll its own separate life form?
No, because I think Leela Troll, not to use another science fiction world terminology, but Leela Troll is still jacked into Control as a whole. So Leela Troll is just a physical manifestation. It already is a life. I feel like Control is already a life form. So I guess I'm saying yeah, even though it's not actualized. But if it was actualized, I don't know. So I'm curious about this combo today because it feels like a life form.
So were you trying to reference the Matrix? So when the bad Matrix dude went into the actual human body? Ooh.
Mm-hmm. When Agent Smith jumps in the middle two trilogy segments. Yeah, I'm curious about. Well, I feel like Leela Troll is not separate because we get that scene where Ash I feel like Ash walks in on Leela Troll with her pants down kind of thing, not to feminize it, but just the face was all open and we get this and then Leela Troll's oh, let me put it away. Oh,
Oh, so. Right. Yeah, nobody's supposed to see that. Yeah. Mm-hmm. All right, Maya Mama, what do you think? Is Leela Troll a person?
Yes, Leela Troll was always a person, because AI is still a life form, and the body itself is just an extension of Control. And Leland's dead, though. Leland's straight up dead. The only thing that exists are his memories that Control can access, but Leland's gone. Leland was killed the second that needle went right in, and he was all and then
I like this, and I'm realizing I asked this question it was it was a huge question, is this character alive? Is this character not alive? But I don't think it matters. Control is bad. Control is very bad, and we recognize that life forms can be alive regardless of their physicality. So someone in our audience was are you about to say that Data isn't a life form, and was about to check us? Do not worry.
Data.
Data. Did I just say Data? I'm
Yeah.
sorry. I've been reading.
One
a
is
lot of-
his name. One is his name. The other is not.
I was reading Dr. Pulaski fanfic today. I really was. I apologize this morning. I was delving deep within the realms of Star Trek entertainment. And y'all, I believe that takes us to the end of Trek Table question number 1.
Yes. Dr. Pulaski fanfic. Get that. Trek Table is so proud right now to be a part of the digital theater platform here at Outside In Theater. Like and subscribe to the Outside In YouTube channel for our weekly live digital recordings. You can also check out lots of great stuff here on the Outside In YouTube channel. If you're listening on the podcast, that's youtube.com/outsideintheatre. All right, and with that song Matanzas by our house band Quetzal, or the band that lets us use their music in this house of Trek. Thank you to that band Quetzal. We appreciate you. Matanzas signals, it is time for popcorn recap. This table is excited. We succeeded last week. We're trying to see if we can do it again. This game is simple. We have 2.5 minutes to share chunklets of plot from this week's episode.
Yes, today we will be talking Star Trek Discovery, Season 2, Episode 11, Perpetual Infinity, written by Alan McElroy and Brandon Schultz, and directed by Maya Vervillo.
And we think it's funny because I'm a Star Trek newbie. Claudia and Maya Mama come from a generational Star Trek family, and Dela loves minutia. Can we do it?
Rachel, please set 2.5 minutes on the timer. Can we go for a repeat?
Transmission.
The episode starts with a flashback. We start in the past with the Burnhams in their laboratory. It's like happy family, and then oh no, the Klingons attack. And this was years ago when Michael's mother donned the time travel suit to go back in time in an hour to warn them. But then oh no, the suit jumps to like 950 years in the future, and all sentient life is destroyed by control.
And Dr. Burnham made over 840 attempts to change the future, we find out, including moving humans to the low-tech tether point she had made, Terralisium, to test how she can change history.
And at the ESOF facility, Mama Burnham, she's there, and initially she's like, I'm not going to talk to Michael, I'll only talk to the captain. But then later, she finally talks to Michael Burnham, but then she's all distant. But then finally she becomes vulnerable and reveals that she's been, like, seeing all of Michael Burnham's special moments, like a time ghost.
And then Dr. Burnham is trying to stop Control from getting the sphere data, and finally tries having it cross paths with Discovery. She has no idea what those signals are about. Never heard of them.
Yes, and then meanwhile, the Discovery crew has had a huddle, and they have a brilliant but bold plan to upload all of the sphere data into the suit and then send it into the future, but like use science to keep Dr. Mama Burnham like back in the present, so Burnham can have her mom back.
And Leela Troll is super against it. First, he tries to get Ash Tyler to spy, but he refused to betray Discovery, so he convinces Giorgio to intercept their download.
And Giorgio and Mama Burnham, they have this like really intense, powerful exchange. And then Mama Burnham says a thing that makes Giorgio go, oh, Leland's been compromised. And she has to like call up Ash to be like, oh, we gotta do stuff.
So then Tyler confronts Leela Troll, and he's almost killed, but he escapes and warns Discovery. Leland!
Totally. And then like Leland like beams down to the surface on ESOP 4, and he starts like killing all these red shirts. We don't even know who you are. Like just mysterious crew member dying. And then the Discovery crew decides to force the thing to like send Dr. Burnham back to the future, and the suit is now damaged.
Oh, and Leela Troll escapes with 54% of the sphere data, but he gets his ass kicked by Giorgio before that. And Spock gives Burnham a pep talk and sets up three-dimensional chess.
Wow.
That was even better. Look at that.
come
It's
on.
still going.
We have time left.
Good job,
over.
Table. Good job,
You
Table.
didn't even say that Spock likes science. It took a lot of self-control to not interrupt you and be like, Spock likes science.
Or
He
Mama
likes
snark
science.
do. Mommy snark do.
All right. Well, congratulations, Table. We're gonna take this moment of victory. Hooray! 2 weeks in a row. Good job, Les.
What's our prize?
Oh, let's see if we could get 3. Let's try to get 5 right. We have 3 shows after this, so I guess we need all 3. Can we do it? I think we can do it. I believe in us.
I think we could. I do.
I also invite friends in the chat, folks listening on the podcast. What's the reward if we win these next 3 popcorn recaps? I'm curious. All right,
Pizza party.
Oh,
Pizza
yeah.
party.
Across all of the lands that we're on. I love it. All right, so if you are a listener, if you're watching us on YouTube and you're like, yeah, but I still want this like meticulous act by act breakdown, then we got you. We want to send you over to Women at Warp. We want to say what's up to Sue. She did the episode this week back in like 2017, 2019. So that recap is there for you, and we're so excited to share that. Drop that link and put it in the episode notes and the chat.
And we are almost in our catching up to the current timeline. And if you're having a good time in this timeline or any other, let's keep the dialogue going. Like and follow us on Instagram at Trek Table and on Twitter at Trek_table. There's no 1 anymore. It's at Trek_table. Nice and clean and easy. Join our convos using hashtag Trek Table, hashtag BIWOC by Walk Trek, and hashtag Star Trek Discovery.
Welcome to Discovery Design, where we're going to dish on design elements, giving us all the drama. So I've got a bunch of topics that I'm going to mention and then just invite y'all to go off. But can I just say, our audience is asking those deep questions. Like, they just asked if Control is a sentient life form, and if Control destroyed all sentient life in the future, then shouldn't Control have destroyed itself? Come on, y'all. That's wild. But also, could we talk about how Dr. Burnham's lab was cool? And I really want to go in it and explore it and have her tell me about science.
I love how well lit it was, because I've noticed that in a lot of these things, it's a lot of, there's not a lot of lighting. And, like, I need light to work. And if you're doing like math and science, I feel like it would be nice to be able to see. And so I just liked how well lit it was. It was bright, open, and super secret.
I think you've just made an observation that's now ruined most of the science scenes in previous Star Treks. I hadn't realized that they were doing science in the dark until you just mentioned it. And now I'm like, what's up with that? Come on. All right, if there's anything else y'all want to observe about the Dr. Burnham's lab, feel free to mention it, because it was so pretty and there were so many amazing things in it. But I'm also interested about this. I'm interested in this Klingon tech.
Yeah, I'll jump in here. I think I was really struck by Dr. Burnham's lab, and just after this last year and a half of like working from home, and just the way in which a home lab would make sense and be exciting. So I appreciated in this rewatch pass that we're doing, after having seen the episode when it, shortly after it originally aired, just really being excited, like, oh my God, that lab means more to me now. And then it struck me in watching the episode that watching this Klingon warbird or this Klingon ship like land to basically show up and ruin their lives. I just felt like the ominousness of the shot. I just really appreciate director choices and, all the pretty things, even though these are horrible things coming. So.
All right. Well, I know that we could keep chit-chatting about all of these things. I'm going to keep us going. What about, can we talk about Section 31 and Control infecting Leland? Because there were several amazing moments there. You had just like the flipping from character to character as a hologram. That was wild. That sort of like frame thingamajigger. That they had him. How did Control get Leland up into that apparatus? Yeah, it was just.
Oh, that's interesting. Is that before? So he gets the eyeball thing happens before this, right?
Yeah, and he slumps to the floor, and then the next time we see him, he's up in that, and I'm like, how did Control get you tied up, Leland?
That's true, because so far the only thing physical besides the little eyeball thing is the holograms, and they don't know how to use flesh, and so this is their first sort of experience of we need a body, we need your body. So yeah, I know, and he tries to resist, and his resistance is dare I say futile. But I could swear they said something else. Like I when I heard it, I was like, that looks like they looked up a thesaurus, and it basically means the same thing. Resist. Yeah.
No, I totally agree. It's a lot less an infection and more of I don't know what the right word would be, but like, you know, whatever the word would be for making something your own and yourself, and just like making it blend into you and be just like you, whatever the word for that is. Also, yeah.
I'm against it. But the art was gorgeous. Like, I gotta say, I don't feel, I feel like just digital design is allowing us to see some really beautiful ways a horrible, horrifying story can be told. Speaking of digital design and fancy things that people have the ability to do right now, I suspect that somebody spent a lot of money on a very expensive camera rig, because we keep seeing cool camera angles where it starts one way and then it turns around in real time and flips. And you can't do that easily with an actual, like, they don't have a person where they're just like, everybody hold the camera operator and flip them with your hands. That's a machine that costs a lot of money. And we've seen, it's not just one director making this choice, it's throughout episodes. Have y'all noticed this flipping camera angle thing?
Yeah, it definitely feels like a nod to Alice in Wonderland, and what is up is down, and what's down is up, and it just, I noticed it. It used to happen only on the way in, zooming into the bridge, and the way that the angle would flip up. But just seeing it, the shot we were seeing earlier on the screen, if you're watching it on video with us, is like there's a shot of Stamets before he spins right upside down, and he starts to explain. You can see a little bit of the pads on ESA 4 in the shot. So giving us this opportunity. I also feel like the other thing that happens on this show is, like, because of the way that their scientific inquiry works and the way they start to restate their hypothesis, sometimes it's also helpful to, like, spin the world around and say, how are we seeing something? Are we seeing it from all the angles? I see that happen actively a lot on the show among this team, and it makes me really excited.
It also makes me think of also just the fact that they're in space, and the orientation of this ship, like what can be up or down, actually, you know, and it just made me think of gravity and, you know, all of that as it's manufactured in the ship, but yes to what you said too.
Well, also in those scenes, you have characters that have, like, a loss of mooring. So sometimes it'll do this flip, and then it'll have, like, sort of like a seasick feeling. So instead of it really landing, it kind of stays in one of those handheld kind of feels. Love it. But you were just mentioning ESA 4, and can I just say, it was reminding me hardcore of video game design. I was like, oh, I'm seeing you got your different stages. It was very pretty, though. It helped me understand the story.
I'm always interested when Star Trek is ever set on a Class Y planet or a Demon class planet, where that's the designation for it. Because usually we go to Class M, very Earth-like.
They all look like Canada. It's like, why do all these planets look like Vancouver?
And so it's just kind of fun to be like, like, you literally will die if you're out here for 2 minutes. 2 minutes will kill you, and I just think it is really, really beautiful. Anyway, yes.
No, they've got that sandy. They've got that sandy floor, so, like, they don't have time to, like, they don't have time, though. This is a demon class planet. They don't have time to seal the floor and make it look fancy. It's just dirt, and they're just doing the science.
Yeah, and I just noticed that those, like, satellite dish looking things are the exact same things they have in the transporter room. So good thing for, repurposing items and that they do more than one thing.
Yes. And definitely, like, I really appreciate the design of eSoftware. I mean, last episode, Giorgio calls it the ninth gate of hell. And so we get a lot of, like, Dante's Inferno references and that kind of thing. But it also reminds me a little bit of Total Recall, the original movie, and just what it was like to be a citizen in that part of the city when they tried to, let in the outside air from Mars. So, just appreciating the design and the wear and tear. And I see the video game design that you're talking about, Claudia. Like, I want to go through with the laser tag game and shoot things,
And they really had like three very distinct areas of play. One area you're like, oh, I don't have to worry about the scientists behind the wall. They're protected. But this area where JoJo is having such awesome fight scenes, I completely understand the geography of it. For a lot of shows, I'm in it for the story. I'm in it for the special effects. But I gotta say, the folks who are making Discovery, they're just doing real boots on the ground, useful design choices that help me track the story and remain engaged. And I got to do a shout out for it.
I love it. Yes. Awesome.
Well, I will say just thank you for this conversation. And I think that brings us to our time for Discovery Design.
Yes, and I want to take a second and give a shout out to our podcast listeners. Thank you for your support as we grow this little show. Your likes and subscribes mean a whole lot. Please, if you've got a second, just send us a tweet at Trek @Trek_table and let us know your thoughts with hashtag TT28 and hashtag Disco Design.
Woo! And as we head into our musical break, Trek Table question number 2. How would you pass the time on a Class M planet in the far future with all sentient life wiped out?
Mira que regresa el maldito. Viene con las manos llenitas de piedra que no quiere arrojar.
Welcome back with Trek Table question number 2. How would you pass the time on a Class M planet in the far future after all sentient life is wiped out? Big shout out and thanks to Maya Mama for helping us to understand that planets have different classes, and like Class Y is like a demon class, which means you don't want to live on there, but Class M is like you could live on there. You could like camp out there and like survive or whatnot, which is what Mama Burnham is doing. Dela, what would you do to pass the time on a Class M planet like Mama Burnham?
I would definitely find an ocean or a lake to be near and some kind of indoor, cave or something to be able to like sit and hang out and watch the water. I think I would enjoy. It'd be great to figure out if I had the angel suit to go and find mammals that I were interested in. Like, are the dolphins passing this way or the whales migrating? I would probably hang out and definitely do that.
Oh, that's so nice. I like that. Come on. Shout out to our audience that has said, we have several, I'm going to wait until the end and see if there are more votes for this particular activity. This might be the activity everyone wants to do the most if they were trapped in the far future after all sentient life has been wiped out. Maya Mama, how would you fill your time?
I'm assuming that in this world, only the life forms are gone, the sentient life forms. So I'd be eating a lot of snacks. I'd be napping. If I had internet access, maybe I'd be like looking up stuff. If not that, then books. I'd probably teach myself how to do a bunch of different crafts. Now, if I had the suit, I'd also be like, probably changing the timeline, killing Hitler style type things.
Yeah. All right. So you'd be pulling a Mama Burnham. That's how Mama Burnham filled her time. She was like, I'm stuck in the future. Guess I'll save the universe. Black women.
In between naps.
In between naps. from our audience: how to survive, feed myself, how to stay clean, talk to plants, and figure out how to grow things. See, that's some smart thinking. Thank you, audience. Maya, how would you spend your time in the far distant future after all sentient life had been wiped out?
So as I was thinking about, okay, it's kind of similar to Earth. I really want to go to a waterfall. So I want a waterfall pool, and I want to swim and kind of, wash off the tachyon or whatever it is. And maybe with the suit be able to build a tree house, because I've always wanted a tree house, so that I could observe things when I don't want to fly around in the suit. So I think that's what I'm going to do.
I feel like I would, on Terra Elysium, I would 100% be doing some hardcore overtime growing of natural elements to make a house. Like, I've always low-key wanted to live inside of a tree that grew around me, so the tree was living, but I lived inside of it. These are the kind of dorky dreams somebody from Montana has, where I'm like, that would be awesome if the tree was alive, but they lived inside of it. So I would 100% go back in time and set stuff up like that. Yeah, exactly. Like, I'd start a small stream 100 years in the past, so that when I came to my regular time, I'd have that waterfall feature I'd always wanted.
I love that.
Yeah, thank you.
Time travel design. Thank
you. I want to do a big shout out for our amazing audience, though, because the majority of our audience members said they would sleep. They were all like, I would catch up on my rest, I would catch up on my sleep. Low-key, I feel like I've kind of gotten a little bit of this experimental thought done as I've been trapped at home during pandemic times, where it's like, oh, what am I going to do with my time? Netflix and chill. Take lots of naps, eat snacks, watch videos of waterfalls.
Yeah, I'm on the second cycle of actually planting. At the beginning, I was all into planting things and gardening, dropped off. Now I'm starting over again in this second period.
I love it.
Delicate.
Earth is our new Class M planet. And hey, I'm just going to jump in here and say thanks again to our podcast listeners. And if you're watching us live and you haven't checked out our podcast, we invite you to. We invite you, if you're watching live or on the podcast, listening on the podcast, go ahead and send us a tweet at Trek_table. Tell us what you're thinking about as you think about your Star Trek Class M planet survival strategies. Let's do a hashtag TT28 there. Hashtag question 2. Hashtag Star Trek futures or hashtag Star Trek Class M planet survivals. Those are long ones. Wow. But we want to know how people are going to survive on their Class M planet. And we just want to say thanks so much to everybody watching and listening to us here at the Trek Table.
And that was Trek Table question number 2. And now is the point in our show when we dance break as we head into Space Runway.
Some of the eye-catching looks from function to fashion in the 23rd century. Space Runway.
Welcome to Space Runway. This week we're doing highlights from Season 2, Episode 11. 5 looks today, starting with look number 5, Secret Agent Mom. Flashback to Doctari Alpha, moments before tragedy. Here we see Mama Burnham wrapping up her secret work in her lab coat, buttoned up over her clothes. But seconds later, as she comes over to get ready for dinner, we see her in a white zip-up athleisure jacket with diagonal piping from shoulders to chest and sleek gray pants and sneakers, rounding out this comfortable look. Look number 4, Stargazing Burnham.
Fresh-faced young Burnham looking up at the stars, hair in a half-up curly pony, wearing an A-line blue-gray zip-up sporty tennis dress-like vibes, complete with sneakers looking snazzy. Super cute.
And look number 3. Papa was a rolling xenoanthropologist.
Yes, and Mama was a astrophysicist engineer. Okay, so I didn't quite get that song right, but look, completing this comfortable but sleek athleisure family style, we get a glimpse of none other than the original xenoanthropologist himself, Mike Burnham. His gentle and encouraging nature in this navy blue jacket, black pants combo. And I'm just looking at it and I'm like, is it me? It's probably the bald head and beard combo, but it's like, does Papa Burnham remind me of like Common? And maybe I wanna love like this. All right. Papa Burnham.
And look number 2, Star Mom.
Yes, we get to see even more details of Gabrielle Burnham's spacesuit and what she wears underneath. As she's whisked off to the future accidentally, we see her flying in space in this experimental time-traveling suit that includes its own little robot scouts that travel with her in her arm, and then a screen that pops out of the other arm. And underneath, she wears a black jumpsuit that we even see that she changes out of the jumpsuit when she's recording her logs. Ooh, look at that. Cute.
Yes, and finally, look number 1, Kick-Ass Agent Gigi. Back in black, as always, Agent Giorgio still manages to wow with some new look every week. This time we see her almost comforting Burnham after she wakes up in sickbay, and then kicking Control's ass in a cowl neck leather jacket, braids on the side of her head, and dare I say, shaggy, fake-looking ponytail. Yes, the shade. I know. That's it. I rarely throw that much shade, but get it together, Gigi. And that's Space Runaway for this week. Thank you, nerds, for indulging me in space fashion talk, fashion form and function in the future.
Yes, and welcome back to the thematic section of our Trek table where we're going to get a chance to braid it all together. As we dive deep into this episode, some of the themes and insights, maybe our reflections on this episode. We have a couple of topics today. As we're in the back end of the season, I feel like character arcs is really where we are. There's a bunch of themes that are happening, but I think this moment of like waiting for that time, for that moment when you can finally have that conversation, say those things. And we saw a lot of that this week in this episode. So let's start with topic number 1, Mama Burnham, Dr. Gabrielle Burnham. We're so happy. I've been waiting for Mama Burnham. I'm so happy she's here. So Table, I'm just going to open it up to you. What are your thoughts about, we've been talking a little bit about how we would survive on a Class M planet. Like, where is she going to sleep? Like, just how she's eating, just these moments about her breathing. My mama, I'm wondering, I know that you were also starting to make some observations about the way even her memories worked, or when we finally get into that soft, squishy place with Michael herself.
Right.
Observations on this. Where are you with Mama B?
So when she's reciting the memories, she's reciting them out of order, and it did make me wonder, like, while she was trying to get back, if she wasn't always totally under control of how the time worked, and how to get where she needed to get. And I just thought that was really, really interesting. Also, I noticed that Mama Burnham and Michael Burnham have the same sort of tone and cadence to their voices, which I think is interesting.
Yes. Maya Chinchilla, what say you? What are your observations about Mama Burnham this episode? Finally getting to meet her.
I know. Finally, after we get all that amazing face acting from Michael Burnham when she finds out that it wasn't herself. Ooh. It was the DNA, similar mitochondrial DNA. It's her mama. Yeah, I mean, it's interesting to see what she has been doing with all that time, and she does look a little bit tired, and not as emotional as Michael Burnham would like her to be, because she's like, hey, yo, this is the story I've been telling myself about my entire life. But also, yeah, I did think a little bit like, how does she sleep, and what is she doing there? And do those robots make any snacks? Do they help her out? And does she have to charge the suit in any way, or just the crystal just kind of everlasting? So Yeah, it's
Sorry.
really interesting because the suit just stands there while, she's outside kind of caught. So it's not like she jumps into the suit at all to try to bust out of how she's being contained. So I thought that was interesting too.
Love it. Love it. Claudia, what say you? You were talking earlier about just, the magical way that Mama Burnham loves on Michael herself, and just, I have thoughts, but I want to invite you. Where are you at right now with Mama B?
Well, I'll share that I'm less invested in exploring the logics of how it would work, and I'm more interested in exploring the sort of existential horror of what that must have been like. I just think about going back over and over and over again, because she was like, I'm just gonna go forward an hour, or no, I'm gonna go back an hour and save us. I'm making a time machine. This is the one problem that I can solve. And then it's the one problem that she discovers a larger problem that takes precedence over her personal problem. So now not only is she not allowed to, or she literally can't save her daughter and her husband, her personal problem, but now she's obligated to save the universe. 840 tries. And you just got to think, like, one try, how many years does one try take? She reflects that she's like, I've seen you die 1,000 times. Like, in some ways, I'm not mad at her not being a fully human person when she first is interacting with humans. She hasn't been interacting with humans like a human person for potentially thousands of years.
Yeah, and you're helping me realize that we get that really gorgeous line from Colbert that connects his story arc to this one, where he says to Burnham, she may not be the person you knew when she first got in the time suit. She's had this so here is Colbert and all the things we know about Colbert. Here is somebody who has had another extraordinary, unique universe moment, and you want to love her in all these ways, but I've only been reinstated for all of 5 minutes, and I can tell you, there are some new variables you want to think about. So I just appreciate how all that came together. I see that we're building with Colbert, super beautiful. All right, and then I have something to say in spoilers on that. I'm gonna hold on for that. But so topic number one, I feel like we're digging in. Let's go a little bit to Leela Troll. Let's go to control. We talked a little bit about some of that mechanism. I will just say it, and this might be inviting a Star Trek fight, but I found myself, the very first time I watched this, I actually felt for Leland. I know he's slimy, but I had a human moment for him about, I guess I hoped that him having to tell Burnham would finally allow him to move on, and we get a different kind of Leland. But the more I listen to the way Control talks to Leland about Leland and who he is and the way we see Gigi and everybody, I'm just like, oh, maybe I don't feel so bad. I don't know. I'm going to come to you, Maya. Where are you on Leela Troll this episode?
I mean, I when I saw the previous episode when he does sort of confess to Burnham, I did have that feelings moment, and I was like, oh, we're being set up here for something. It was unexpected the direction it turned, because I thought maybe he was sort of tricking her again, but then I thought, okay, Giorgio is the one who pushed him to have to tell the truth somehow. But instead of just being like, this was the orders I got, whatever, he kind of apologizes. He says, I was young and ambitious and I should have protected you all better, and then Burnham smacks him in the face. So I think there is a moment where it's like the computer's like, I'm going to take advantage of how people see you, and then also when he is Control, there is something about Giorgio that's like, wait a minute, all of a sudden you're a little bit more assertive. This is weird.
Yeah,
so,
resolute. You're so resolute.
Claudia, I'm going to ask you to jump in here. Your thoughts on Leela Troll? Anything we've missed so far?
I'll say this. I think that Discovery puts me into a headspace of wanting transformative justice instead of retribution justice. And I think that I liked that the bad guy in season 1 ended up dying because of his own violence and the bad things that he was doing. And I think I have feelings of like of sadness or disappointment for Leland, because I think y'all Maya Mama, you have named it too. Maya Mama, you have named all of the things that Leland did that put him in a place that made him so profoundly vulnerable to the most evil thing ever, right? And yet I have a lot of compassion for him as a character.
Maya Mama, you want to jump in here?
Yes, and I agree. I don't like Leland. I think that I think that he is possibly just like sociopathic and just truly narcissistic. And that narcissism is what eventually gets him, hoisted by his own petard. It is unfortunate because if he was the kind of person that was able to have good relationships and friendships and not just people that he used and maybe got killed, then maybe he would have been protected, and people would have known immediately that there was something wrong. Maybe they would have locked him down and done an exam. Maybe they would have figured out how to get control and save him. I think a bunch of stuff could have happened if he had cultivated any relationships. Because, like, not even Cornwall wasn't even happy to see him in the previous episode when he showed up. She was not happy to see him. She was like, ugh, go away. Why are you here? And so it's unfortunate when anyone is disliked to the degree that no one even cares that he's dead. And that is sad.
Yeah.
That is sad.
Yeah. And I'm gonna pick that up and like transition us really quick into this final topic, because it created moments in the show for us to see Tyler. It gave Giorgio and Tyler an opportunity to kind of have an alliance. And I don't think I'm spoiling anything here when I say there's a Section 31 show coming. So I'm seeing some things, some interesting opportunities there, and just and then Spock even. So this last topic is just Burnham's arc gets a big moment, obviously, when she finally gets to talk to her mother and have this moment. We see Burnham again not wanting to give up, not willing to believe that mom has to be gone, and so we see Burnham really processing these feelings. And I will just say that one of my favorite moments in this episode is when Burnham, unlike what happened with Ariam, Burnham clicked into, we have to fire on these discs so the suit can go back, so my mom can go back, because I know there's a long game and I'm gonna save you later by cutting off she didn't have that same pause that she had with Ariam, is where I'm trying to go. And so I just see this, I just enjoy watching Michael Burnham, just watching her and just being along for her journey, and just watching her have to wrestle really quickly with this complex set of things. And so I'm just super humbled. So that's my topic 3. I'm wondering, Claudia, any greatest hits in this moment? Do you have a Spock moment, a Tyler moment?
I just love it when characters trust each other and they've built trust, and the cool, awesome plot things that can happen when characters trust each other, and the spark of when that trust clicks, like you saw it take place between Giorgio and Ash, and it was juicy. It was awesome.
Yes. Maya Chinchilla, what say you? Any favorite other moments with characters this episode?
Yeah, just the same. And also, Spock being kind of just showing up all over the place, and just enjoying science, and and he just seems back to himself. And I don't know, I'm awaiting him getting to a point where he shaves his beard. I don't think he's there yet, but he's looking more and more kind of sleek and put together.
Okay. And my mama, final word on topic 3 today.
I can't wait to see Giorgio, Spock, Tyler, and Pike going fishing in this new TV show. I think it's going to be great. They're all going to be buddies and having a good time.
That's what's up. And for us here at the Trek Table, thematics wouldn't be complete if we didn't jump into a spoiler zone. So if you are watching us live on the Outside In YouTube channel, and if you're watching this in synchronous order and listening on the podcast, we're going to give you a little bit of support so that you can maintain a cone of silence as best as possible while you synchronously watch. So we're going to spend this next 2.5 minutes in spoiler zone. Maya Chinchilla is going to jump out and do some post-it doodles. But let's say when you see those things turn green, we see the visuals turn green, visual folks come back. Audio listeners, give yourself 2.5 minutes. Rochelle, let's head into that spoiler zone.
Incoming transmission.
Yes, Claudia, you ready? Go.
Yeah. So I was asking you a real dumb question at the top of this session, but it was because the show is confusing us on purpose. Because I was like, wait a second, what color is the Red Angel suit? Is it black? But that's because you had said that the tachyon energy is what makes it red. But it's because they're confusing us on purpose. It was Michael Burnham's signals. It was her signals, and it wasn't her mom's signals. It was her signals. This show is confusing on purpose.
And mom's suit is black, Burnham's suit is red. My mama thoughts, and then I want to say some stuff about season 4 and Burnham and Colbert. Go.
I think that there should be a TV show called Everything Pike Doesn't Know. Because honestly, like, he is, like, everything is need to know, but everybody else knows but him. And it's just, I think, I can't wait for him to actually find out what the hell is going on. I think that'll be fun.
Yes.
Go.
And I just want to say, this episode, that moment about Colbert just saying Mama B is not who you think she is, she needs a minute. I'm just watching the way he and Burnham are interacting. I forgot to say this out of spoiler zone, but I love that when Burnham wakes up, I love that we see Colbert there explaining to her scientifically why it's even logical that her mother would be alive. And so then the shot pans over and we see Georgiou looking concerned and Pike. And so this found family that Burnham has created for herself, and even Leland calling Tyler and Georgiou, like, you all have complicated feelings because you love Burnham. And so just to have this moment of, like, it's so nice to see plot lines and storylines where multiple people love and care about the lead black woman, and it's not like we're all fighting her because she's evil. So I just am celebrating all of that, and, like, I cannot wait for season 4 and watching Colbert be the doctor to Burnham's skeptic. Oh my God, my mama, go.
Oh man, I think I might have forgotten what I was going to talk about.
Claudia,
like,
go.
I'll say.
The quat melange, the hand touch, and they missed. And I remember that when they meet at the quat melange, it's the first time they actually get to touch, and it's really beautiful. And it actually has more meaning when I think about it like that. I'm sorry. I keep cutting you off, Claudia. I suck.
It's okay. It's all right. I'll always have more. So it's okay.
Transfer of data is complete.
Amazing.
And that explains everything about welcome back, Maya.
All the things have been explained. Welcome back, listeners. Welcome back, friends on the YouTube channel watching. Thank you. Maya Chinchilla, while you were away, while we were in spoiler zone, did you draw something? Can you share your doodle with us? What did you do?
Yes. This is Leland's eye being poked out.
Okay. And for our audio listeners, Chinchilla just pushed the post-it into our faces on the screen and was felt by the table. I love it.
And I found a red pen, too, to help with the bloody part.
That was good.
There's some post-it note realism happening. I love it. Well, I want to just say thank you to everybody. Those are our thoughts today for thematics for Star Trek Discovery Season 2, Episode 11, Perpetual Infinity.
If you're enjoying this conversation, support us on patreon.com/TrekTable.
And now, as we head into our final Trek Table question number 3, Star Trek is obsessed with Shakespeare. So what's your favorite Star Trek reference? All right, y'all. On Star Trek, they are obsessed with some Shakespeare on this episode. We have, I think Spock makes a Shakespeare reference, and then Burnham's like, oh, this is a rock and roll reference. Hamlet, yoo-hoo! I'm just wondering, in your experience of Star Trek, what was your favorite reference to Shakespeare? They reference it in every single iteration. Actually, I'm gonna start wild. I'm gonna start with you, Maya.
Okay. What I do know is that Sir Patrick Stewart is classically trained, has done lots of Shakespeare. They all kind of, there's so many actors that sort of stand and speak in a certain way as if they've done Shakespeare and around. So I think, yeah, I know he has. It just, every time I hear about an actor, I feel like 8 out of 10 have done some sort of Shakespeare themselves. And then I also looked up that the first couple of original series episodes are named after Shakespeare. Yeah. So something like Dagger of the Mind.
Dagger of the Mind. That's
All of Our
matters.
Yesterdays.
Yes.
The Conscience of the King. And by any other name.
Hamlet, Hammy. Come on. Yes. No, I recall working at the Shakespeare, the Oregon, I've worked at so many Shakespeare theaters, y'all. I work in theater. So I've worked in a lot of theaters that were like the name of place Shakespeare Theater. So I worked at one Shakespeare theater where I was literally performing. So I was playing Celia and As You Like It. And then there's Sulu, just there in the front row, just being Sulu, like, hi, I'm Sulu. He was being George Takei, the real human being. He's a real person. He's allowed to live a life and go see Shakespeare plays, but apparently the people who made that Shakespeare theater, they had invented the Klingon language they invented the language, and then they also had a Shakespeare theater. And then once during a tech at the Oregon Shakespeare Festival, I just relaxed style, because like I was just standing there and I was like, there's Howie Seago, and then I looked at two other actors and I was remembering how I'd seen them in heavy makeup in other episodes, so I just was shouting out, hey, just raise your hand if you've ever been on Star Trek, and 8 people raised their hands. 8 people were just like, oh, yeah. And then they were surprised by each other, and then they had a conversation about, oh, I was on The Next Generation, I was on Voyager. It was a thing. So amazing, Maya. I did not mean to do an entire TED Talk inspired by your response, but yes, the crossover between Shakespeare actors and the Shakespeare franchise, it is real. But I was asking about your favorite Shakespeare moment, Shakespeare reference in an episode. So I'm now gonna ask Dela, what's a moment that you enjoyed that was a Shakespeare-inspired moment?
I mean, I definitely appreciated that moment on the transporter pad where Spock is feeding Burnham a Hamlet line. And I noticed later in this actual episode, there is a moment where Mama Burnham, I believe, is talking. It's either Mama Burnham to Burnham or it's Giorgio to Burnham. And it's basically a "to thine own self be true," which is also a Hamlet quote. But they didn't say the line direct, but it was just the phraseology and the pace, and I'll find it and I'll do the citation for folks. But there's a moment in this episode where Burnham is being told basically "to your own self be true," and that's very.
Oh no! Now I'm gonna have to watch this entire episode with a Hamlet lens, aren't I? Dang it!
Oh, there's so much, right? They talk about Ophelia, so yeah, I'm gonna say that this episode. I mean, I love the data stuff. There's so many Shakespearean moments in this Trek verse that. Too many to pick, but this episode, yeah, Burnham being told to her own self be true. Yes, I'm here for all of that.
Amazing. Hey, Maya Mama, how about you?
I'm gonna start a Star Trek fight. I don't find any.
Okay, Star Trek fight.
I just don't find any of the Star Trek's Shakespeare references interesting. I don't like any of them. On TNG, whenever they're performing, I'm like, I sort my eyes glaze over and I 10-second skip. Not my thing. I like space in space.
But with Data and Picard,
spacey space or westerns.
in the holodeck though when they're acting. You don't like it when they're acting like they're in a holodeck, but they're acting like they're in a, like, you don't like that? Here's my thing. Why are Klingons into Shakespeare? That's what I want to figure out. I think that this is some weird racist stuff that just is always or imperialist logics that are embedded in how Shakespeare's or how Star Trek is written. Because I'm like, I don't think Shakespeare would be popular. I'm sorry to the Shakespeare heads out there. Because I got all the respect too, but I just don't think Klingons would be into it as hard.
Well, I do sort of wonder what the writers' room, people that are in the writers' room that bring these things up, are they bringing things up because it's been kind of part of the canon? Because we had the Alice in Wonderland references. Also, there's like some science, light, and it's like light science too, right? So it's all, it's what was it? It's not. Was it Darwin or what was the?
No, they're always.
Einstein's law was in it this week. Newton's second law, I believe. Tilly does a whole. That's like my favorite. That's like my second favorite law.
Yeah, and then Spock says something about Lao Tzu.
Art of war.
Yeah, about time and so I don't know. There's just these moments of that I think. I kind of agree with Maya Mama. I'm a little bit more excited, but sometimes also confused by the engineering or the science references, the super fast dialogue. I feel like that's also a thing. So, but it's interesting. I wonder how those decisions get made and what English departments some of these writers are from. Right?
Yeah, it seems like white imperialism, classicism, and I don't find it interesting.
And on that particular note, that feels like the perfect note to bring this beautiful Star Trek question to a close. And those are all of our Star Trek table questions for this week. Season 2, episode 11, Perpetual Infinity.
Yes, and we are back. We strive to hold space for Black, Indigenous, Brown, women of color. And here are some resources that we want to amplify, highlight. We were interested always in upholding the work of women of color content creators, community builders, and world shapers. Maya Mama's here with me right now. We're going to share 2 little signal boosts. So here's what I want to say. I just want to shout out to Kennedy Allen. You were doing these amazing recaps for Women at Warp on the Lower Decks episodes that have come out for season 2. Super enjoying. 6 of the 10 are out right now. Season 2 of Lower Decks brings us back to the support crew serving on Starfleet's USS Cerritos. What's up, Cerritos? See you in 2380. Tawny Newsome is the voice of Ensign Beckett Mariner. We learned some things about Mariner this season. So all those new episodes are on Paramount Plus. But I just want to say, if you want to read a woman of color take on Star Trek Lower Decks, we're going to send you to Women at Warp to read what Kennedy Allen is saying these days. And those links will be in the episode notes and the chat.
We also want to lift up Dr. Malika Jeffries L., who yesterday received the Percy L. Julian Award, which recognizes Black scientists who have made significant contributions in the areas of pure or applied research in science or engineering. This award is the most prestigious honor given by national organization for the professional advancement of Black chemists and chemical engineers, and Dr. Jeffries L. is only the 3rd woman to have received this award in its 46-year history. We invite you to follow Dr. Jeffries L. on Twitter at chemical_diva and check out an op-ed piece she recently wrote about how to support Black women in academia. Links will be posted in the chat and in the episode notes.
And a loving nudge. It's at chem_diva.
Did I say it again? Did I say it wrong again?
Chemical, yeah.
Dang.
You know what that stands for. You know what that abbreviation is. Dr. Jeffries L got you on that abbreviation.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Thank you for that. And we just want to say, yes, congratulations, Dr. Jeffries L at chem_diva. Super excited. And just, yeah, fans of you already. and interested in talking about polymers and electronic properties as semiconductors and organic semiconductors, all those things. If you listening or watching us online have a woman of color creator that you want to amplify, let us know in our DMs at Trek Table on Instagram or at Trek_Table on Twitter. That has been our signal boost for this episode of Trek Table number 28. All right, and we are back with the final thoughts here on the Trek Table, episode 28, talking about Star Trek Discovery, season 2, episode 11. And while I will agree with our friends in the chat, you don't know Shakespeare until you've heard it in the original Klingon, we're going to close out our thoughts today, go around this table one more time and ask the table assemble to close us out. Maya Mama, can you offer us your thoughts, final thoughts on episode 2, season 2, episode 11, Perpetual Infinity?
Yes, well, we're on a roll. This is just a part of the journey that is taking us to the season finale, and I am excited and I am for it, and I can't wait for more.
Awesome, thank you. Maya, your thoughts on this episode?
One thought I was still ruminating about is about kind of like these moms that are, coming back or moving forward in time, trying to save the world once they have some sort of information that we, that the rest of us don't have, and how they're trying to train or inform their children. I think there's also something that comes to mind is Sarah Connor, Terminator 2, right? And I always think, like, I've been doing so much physical therapy. How come I don't have those guns just yet? But yeah, so I think a lot about moms in real life and how they're expected to be, nurturing and all the things, but also we get the moms that we got, and a lot of times they do have information that we don't have because of whatever experience they have, and they're not always, that sometimes they're just trying to handle the business. And so that's what I saw happening with Michael Burnham's mom, who, she allows a moment before they actually are ripped apart of tenderness, but she's trying to handle the business, and she's trying to, just give enough to her daughter so that she can also, not cock block her plans.
Yes. Thank you so much for that. Time traveling moms. Love it. Your final thought today, Claudia, on this episode, Perpetual Infinity.
My final thoughts are, I love Star Trek Discovery for the rewatchability. I'm finding it incredibly rewarding. It gets better every time I rewatch it. Not all shows are like that. A lot of shows get worse when you rewatch them. But I will say that what it's missing for me is I can't snack. I can't snack on Star Trek Discovery. It's got no snacky episodes where I'm just like, hey, I'm just going to watch this one episode that's just about the wacky hijinks of Arium. I want an episode where it isn't like the highest stakes in the universe over all time, and I just want to find out, some wacky Saru Tilly fun for an entire episode. So this is me again. I take these moments to speak to the showrunners out there. If you could just make an entire run of short treks for me that do that would be great. And those are my final thoughts.
I love it. Okay, so we got some short trek requests, all the things today. All right, everybody. My final thought is that I'm so happy that Gabrielle Burnham is in our lives, that we get to see her, we get to hear her. I'm so grateful that we got this episode. I want more. And so my final thought is just two things. One, about this actor, Sonia Son, who plays Mama B. Just thank you for this gorgeous work, watching her work with Sonequa Martin Green in these scenes, just every time she's on the screen, I just want more. And I just really appreciate that the origin story of Michael Burnham is that she's literally also reborn in through her mother saving her the tachyon radiation at the end of last episode. So just honoring the gorgeous work that was happening in these episodes. And then I just have the panic question of what happens to Mama B getting sucked back into the wormhole out of her suit, and just how does her human body survive that? I have questions. I just want to know. So that's my final thought, is like, I need to see Mama Burnham more, and I hope she's okay whenever she goes back through the thing that she's going back through to go to the place where she was. So, and those are our final thoughts on Star Trek Discovery, Season 2, Episode 11, Perpetual Infinity. And we hope that you will join us on September 26th when we talk about episode 12 of season 2, Star Trek Discovery. The episode is entitled Through the Valley of Shadows. And we want to say thank you so much to the band Quetzal for that song Witness, and thank all of you for joining us at the Trek Table. Get your first look at Trek Table questions, inside scoops, and more when you sign up for our mailing list at trektablepodcast.com.
And find Trek Table Podcasts on iTunes, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and wherever you get your podcasts.
Like and subscribe to this channel so you can get more Trek Table in all of your algorithms.
Like and subscribe to us on Instagram at Trek Table and on Twitter at Trek_Table. Join our convos there, and please comment using the hashtags #TrekTable, #BIWOC Trek, and #Star Trek Discovery.
Yes, and I'd love to say thank you so much to this Trek Table assembled here today. Thank you for holding down this ritual and these complex conversations that we're having with each other. I want to say thank you so much to Claudia Alec, Maya Chinchilla, and Maya Mills-Lowe. Thank you so much for sharing your insights and thoughts with us today and every week that you were on this show. So much gratitude. We started the show holding a lot of different Trek space, and I just want to acknowledge as we come to an end today, we want to say thank you to the folks who helped make the show possible. Thank you so much to the Trek Table executive producers, Alison Dela Cruz and Muzmaminda Jariwala, production coordinator Brandon Chang, artist coordinator Ariana Michelle, and she is also our stage manager. Our OBS operator today was Michelle Wasserman, social media manager and chat moderator Isil Borlasa, and our social media associate Jimena Martinez.
Deep gratitude and thanks to Outside In Theater, with extra thanks to Paul, Matt, Jessica, Danny, and Tamlin.
Thanks to
Deborah, Dr. Deborah Carter, Doc Zulu, and Nancy Yap, and our partners at Visual Communications.
Trek Table is a service mark of Daylaw Projects, LLC.
Yes, and we want to say thank you all so much for joining us at the Trek Table. Let's go ahead and close this ritual for the week. Go ahead and plant your feet flat on the floor, and let's take one more breath. In through your nose. And out through your mouth. Awesome. We hope that you will join us. Get ready. Next Sunday, September 26th, we're going to dive into that season 2, episode 12 as we head into the back of this season. We're going to watch Through the Valley of the Shadows, and we are going to have lots to say. I think there might be some things about control. All right. So we'll meet you back here at the Outside In YouTube channel, 4 o'clock on Sunday, September 26th. We'll be holding Trek Space for you until then. Have a great week. Thanks so much for joining us.
just to be terrible. Let's plan on having some terrible